Good morning, Karthik.
Very good morning.
An interesting question everybody has since ages. What happens after death?
See, before we are actually talking about death, it is very important to define death.
Hmm.
So, very definition of death can happen only after a person realizes that he is living.
Hmm.
Please understand this. So, living will find its meaning only when he understands what he calls as himself is. For example, if I have to look at myself, I have a body which I'm very aware of, and if I tell you you have a body, you will also know that it's pretty much you are aware of it. There is a mind, there is emotion, and there is energy. So these four things is what constitutes a living person.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what logically you understand, because when you're talking death also you are defining a word.
Correct.
Okay, so when we say death, what has died becomes very important, because death, what will happen after death means what has died must be known.
Correct.
So suppose you see there is a person who is dead. Now what has died in him? I want to know this first. This is my query which I ponder upon. What has died in him? Do you say, let's say an X person has died. What has died in him? His body has died, his mind has also died, his emotions also died, or his energy has died, or you say in short he has died. This is my query. So when this query has found a clarity, what I've realized is death is only at the physical level. Because when I always say it's a dead body lying, you're not saying dead mind lying, dead emotion lying, dead energy lying. No. So mind happens to be that non-physical aspect that continues to live along. So anything which is physical can have death. Anything which is non-physical can never have death. So if you happen to look at life after death, essentially that which is non-physical still continues to exist. In the form of what? Now happens the question. What continues to function and how it continues to function? Now you have a thought. And any great person whom we remember today, we remember him based on his thought actually.
Correct.
So this thought has no death. Suppose we will take about Mahatma Gandhi. His thought is still continuing today. The freedom that he has created, the democracy. See, B.R. Ambedkar, the great personality. So the kind of democratic purview what they have created still continues to exist. B.R. Ambedkar as a physical body no longer exists, which is a reality everywhere. But his thought still continues to find an expression.
True.
So that depends upon how effective that thought has been in creating an impact in the surroundings that it has been living. So how much powerful thought you are, you have that ability to govern the conscious abilities. So you translate from a thought to a consciousness. From consciousness you peek into a huge layer which cannot be described. I have not seen it, so I cannot describe. But definitely by observing all the thoughts, by observing all the people how they continue to live, one thing I'm very sure is that even after a person dies, his consciousness prevails. So like if you see Krishna today, his consciousness is Gita. It still continues to exist. When we talk about Krishna, we are not describing him about the incidences in which he has driven the chariot. The days and days tirelessly how he has driven the chariot. We are not talking about that. We are remembering him for Gita. Today if you look at Ghantashala, the very famous singer, what he has given means he has sung the Gita. You remember him for the way in which he has sung the Gita. So that ability to do what a person wishes to do. Now let's say a person can die, but his thoughts can find an expression in the form of a books. That's why we have so many books. Like today if you happen to look at one of the famous books which perhaps I knew first from your mouth and later from other people's mouth, is the Fountainhead book which you described, Ayn Rand. So her thought still continues to exist, delivering so many copies. So is she living after death? Definitely she is living after death. How? The medium. But people do not want to understand this. People want she is continuing to live as a physical person, as a physical entity, and she has a physical body, and that physical body you can touch. I'll tell you one very famous incident. Not famous in the sense for me, it is famous personally from my point of view. People do not know. I'm sorry, famous is a very wrong word which I used. Personal incident with, I've had a very famous personality, okay? And he told me that, Karthik, my father died, and after 3 years I found a person standing at the gate. It is exactly like my father. And when I observed my body, almost I was running temperature. So what people have to understand here is, you like to connect with the thought of the person. You are not connected with the body actually. Because if a dead person comes, you will again be afraid. You will not be able to accept. You will call him devil. Why? How can, let's say, your own person, somebody you love to you, are dead, and when they are coming back, you are not able to accept them, you are getting afraid. This is what I observed. Why should he be afraid of his own father? Because he was connected to a certain thought. Now, this thought has dead. This thought has found extinction as far as he is concerned. But in reality, the thought is there. But according to him, he's lost his father. And I lost my father means people feel they have lost everything about the father. But they don't realize the thought is still alive. So this separation has not happened to him, because of which he's afraid of that body. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So because of this kind of a confusion that people are living with, they are interested in trying to find out what happens after death. So there are various kinds of rituals which people are conducting and other things.
Maybe the whole idea is how I perceive myself while I am living. What happens to that perception? What happens to those eyes?
Again, that's wrong, because your perception is purely based on your senses. Whereas your thought is not based on your sense. Your thought, you can think about anything. You can think of some beyond the world. You are never seen. For example, I keep telling you, I keep wondering, like, there can be another planet altogether which has a kind of a resemblance. And maybe some activity is happening there and we are a reflection of that activity. Now this I have not seen anywhere. Now this is a freshness. So this freshness is my thought. I'm not talking the mundane thoughts. Talking the freshness is my thought. And this thought, when it finds its ultimate maturity...
Can I give you an example?
It's consciousness.
Can I give you an example? Okay. There's a tree. It has fruit. And now there are seeds. Seeds are having the same code of the tree, and once it is sowed, it will continue to live. It will continue to grow independently again, becoming a new tree and blah blah. So now my query is, if the seed gets to be seeded into the earth and then it will grow, what if it is crushed? Now what is dead? Is the seed dead? Is the life potential dead?
Again, the way in which people are relating, I do not know. How did you form into this example? Was it, your self-discovery, or was it with some kind of book? Was it
absolutely self-question? I know books? A seed is a life potential.
Because many people use this example in various books. Because it's personally, people use this example as tree example. People use seeding. Growth is happening, continuity of the life is happening, expressing. No, if it is yours, again, it might be as fresh as how the freshness has come to that author. But having said that, a tree is programmed. A tree is programmed. A mango seed can only produce mango. It cannot produce a tomato. Please understand.
A human being can also produce a human being only. He can't produce an animal.
Please understand. When you're calling a mango, you're calling a quality. A mango has a certain quality. It has certain ingredients in it, because of which it has been classified as mango.
So has a human
Please
being.
understand this. That's what I'm saying. You just understand it. You let me complete the sentence.
Okay.
A tomato is what tomato, because it has been classified by having certain qualities in it. And other things, because of what it can contain, what it can do, what vitamins it can have, all other things like that. For example, now beetroot, people ask you to have beetroot because it's very good for the blood. People feel, and it is so true. But when it comes as a human being, what qualities the parents had may not be the same qualities that a child has if it is programmed. Definitely not. A child picks, when you're saying when you're seeing a seed sprouting and becoming a tree, a child is also born and he's becoming as a human being, evolved human being or whatever, a suppressed human being. Today mostly he'll become a suppressed human being because there's a lot of conditioning. Now you cannot relate a tree with a human being for me, one basic reason, because a human being comes with an independent mind state to have multiple qualities, alter the qualities, dilute the qualities, contain the qualities and make the qualities highly expressible according to his freedom state that he is given, based on the freedom state that he is given. But a tree can only be programmed, it's a programmed being. So a human being for me, now when you say a tree, when it is crushed, the seed has got crushed, or what has got crushed, if you look at it, obviously life has gone on the seed. Now human being, when a human being dies, when his ability to be independently driven by the thoughts that come to him, when that is being attacked and when he is compelled to live a life according to social jargons, not according to why. Because today if a person is not doing bad to another person, let it be out of love. Let it not be because you will be jailed.
But my question was related to physical death.
I'm telling physical death only. You know, your physical death cannot happen to the human being the way it is happening to the tree. A tree, the seed is gone, it's dead. There's no further more productivity there.
Human being, the breath is gone.
Definitely. See, your breath, again I'm telling, it's a different topic altogether. The way the breath, see, when you speak about breath is that essence through which, you know, the mind is tied to the body. Because what I find is, sometimes I keep observing, does my mind need my body? What is the requirement for my mind to associate with my body? I always question this. So I found that my mind, to generate a thought, to impact a thought, and you know, the thought becoming the juicier aspect of the thought becoming the emotion, to find an expression, it needs a container, and my body is that container through which the expression is there. So the binding, so it's in detailed elaboration which we can discuss in the other video, but since you asked this topic, you know, I don't want to leave it incomplete. Breath essentially, I found logically that it is, though not existentially I can define it, but breath I found is that essence or that possibility through which the mind gets tied to the physical body. So the strength of the breath, the fragileness of that breath, or the frequency, all plays a very important role in determining the feebleness of the breath. And the more feeble, you know, it's a very elaborate topic, the more feeble it becomes, the less susceptible its ability to bind the body becomes, to hold on. See, you are in a transition. There is a transition. If you observe your life in meditation, if you observe your life in stillness, if you observe your life in calmness, if you observe your life in absolute levels of joy, you will know that those are the moments where there is something beyond which is holding you.
Correct.
Because suddenly you are disconnected from the compulsions. You are untied from your compulsions. The threads are completely untied. So your ability to walk, now see, let's say your legs are tied and you are asked to walk there. The distance, the time and the distance, obviously the time duration will be long to cover that distance, 100 meters also. But suppose you untie your legs, you are given that freedom, your ability to cover that distance will be high and you will enjoy the process. Your ability to walk will be good, you will enjoy the walk. So today what's happening majorly is that many people, they're tied in a very different compulsive mode, social compulsions, family compulsions, this compulsion, that compulsions. So untying that happens in meditation, untying that happens in the stillness, untying that happens in the ability to drive in a conscious mode. And in